And we are back at it for the last full week in June. It is Monday, the 23rd day of June, 2025. I'm Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. 61 degrees outside. The skies would be clear if it wasn't for the haze, as you can see behind me. And if you haven't been outside yet, it is a little hazy. That's some of the smoke that has drifted down to our neck of the woods from the Palmas fire. That's about 35 miles up the Aniat River drainage. It's about 1,000 acres. Not a lot of information, no real updates from the interagency folks who are fighting that fire, but we do have a little bit of smoke and a little bit of haze. It's gotten a little bit better. When I got to the office a couple of hours ago, our AQI was at 70, which is moderate on the AQI scale, the air quality index. It's gone down. It's gotten better. It's at 63 now, but it's you know, it's a little hazy out there. And as the day progresses, the air quality will improve. Pretty quiet week weather-wise. There's a big ridge of high pressure, but it's flat and it's just off the Pacific coast. We're at the edge of that, which means we're going to have a couple of little short waves pop in and out. We're going to be warmer today than we were yesterday. We only got to 70 on Saturday, the first full day of summer, and we only got to 70 degrees. That was it. It'll feel more like summertime for most of this week, and when we get to the weekend, it'll definitely feel like summertime. Weather will take things off as we get going. We'll have news. We had a camera crew at Rocky Reach Dam Park on Friday night for the Decker Sisters Memorial Service. We'll show you some snippets of that. Sports, good weekend for the Mariners. They took 2 of 3 in Chicago. Bad weekend for the Apple Sox. They went up north to Edmonton, and the Riverhawks took care of business. We'll have that in sports. And in case you missed it, last Friday we're going to play the interview that we did with Bonnie Orr. Our good friend Bonnie Orr. We visit Bonnie 4 times a year, solstices and equinoxes. Well, we had the summer solstice, of course. It's the summertime do's and don'ts of gardening, yard care, and all that cool stuff with a veritable font of information, our friend Bonnie Orr. So it's a busy Monday. We start with our tour around the valley, and you will see the haze that's hanging out there. Again, our AQI right now is 63. Twisp, you're at 61. Tenaskeet's at 58. Aniat's at 57. Of course, Aniat is the closest community to the Palmas fire, so that's why we have some slightly dirty air. It could be worse. Moderate goes from 51 to 100, so we're about in the middle of the moderate scale, but that's why you see haze there. Only got to 70 on Saturday, 77 yesterday. Our normal high is 80. Long days still. Sunrise this morning, 5:04. Sunset tonight, 9:02. 15 hours, 57 minutes. It will be 11 seconds shorter today, than Sunday. Our second camera takes us up to Billy Goat. Again, a little hazy up there. The closest air quality monitor to that general area is Twisp in the Medhow Valley. They're at 61. Winthrop is at 58, and Tenaskeet is at 58 as well. So good morning to our friends up to the north in the Omak-Okanagan area. They had a measurable rain in Omak on Saturday. We didn't. It was just a trace and just enough to get the rain gauge a little wet, but it wasn't enough to register anything. Really not much in Omak. They got 3/100ths of an inch. Camera number 3 takes us up to Lake Wenatchee. Again, hazy up there. As the crow flies, that's actually not far from the fire. Outside of that, it looks pretty nice and peaceful up there at Lake Wenatchee. I love that view. I would like to have a cabin right there. That wouldn't be bad, but most people, of course, want their cabins right on the shoreline, and for good reason. And camera 4. Up to the top of Blag Mountain, looking out towards Leavenworth. The air quality doesn't look too bad there. Again, that's a lot of real estate that we're looking at there. You can see the beginning of the Tumwater Canyon on the left-hand side of your screen. That's high above Peshastin, looking almost due west towards Leavenworth on Blag Mountain. No slides to show for you today. We'll jump right to it from the National Weather Service. Here we go. We're going to condense the weather down to that. There you go. If you can't read that, we'll top off at about 82. It'll be sunny, although a little hazy. The haze will dissipate and clear out as the day progresses. The haze is pretty much around the edges of the valley. If you look straight up, you'll see blue sky. Partly cloudy tonight, 59 for the overnight low. Weak shortwave comes in Tuesday. We'll see some high clouds tomorrow. It's also going to warm us up. We'll be in the upper 80s on Tuesday with high clouds. Same deal Tuesday night. Fairly cloudy. Keep us mild, 61 for the overnight low. Wednesday, sunshine, 84. Then we cool down to about 80 on Thursday and Friday. Then we go right back up to summertime. We'll be into the mid-90s anyway by Sunday. And they tell us Monday and Tuesday of next week, starting 1 week from today, we could start flirting with 100 degrees as we get closer and closer to July. All right, that's your weather forecast. We're going to take a break and come back with the news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Call Alpine Air Heating and Cooling today. Your comfort is their priority.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. Medicare can be overwhelming, but you don't have to figure it out alone. I've been helping people understand their Medicare options for over a decade. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand your coverage options so you can feel confident in your decisions. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or come and see me at my office located on South Chelan Avenue in Wenatchee between the YMCA and the Social Security office. I look forward to meeting you soon.
Tour Moses Lake just a gas tank away. With its abundance of outdoor activities, Moses Lake is a great place to visit. From fishing and boating to exploring the city's attractions, there is no shortage of things to do. Whether you're enjoying any one of the variety of restaurants with the family or an adventure-filled day with friends, Moses Lake has something for everyone. Tour moseslake.com and start your adventure today.
The joys of sitting in traffic, burning gas, donating your paycheck to parking enforcement. Or you could join us this June for Ride Transit Month. On Link, you ride for free, anytime, anywhere. Plus, Link's electric buses run on clean local hydropower. Thanks, Columbia River. So while you're saving some cash, you're also saving the planet. So hop on board Link for Ride Transit Month. Stress-free, wallet-friendly, eco-smart.
We're at 59 degrees here in the Wenatchee Valley with some hazy skies, smoke seeping in from the Palmas fire up the Antioch Way. But the air quality will improve as the day progresses. We'll be pretty warm today, lower 80s anyway. A few high clouds on Tuesday. We'll cool down quite a bit Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We bottom out at about 80, and then we go right back into the 90s by the weekend. It's 8 minutes after the hour on Friday night. The Wenatchee Valley community gathered to remember the Decker girls, the three young sisters lost to a horrible crime. The family of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker held a public memorial service at Rocky Reach Dam Park. More than 800 people attended, many more watched online, speakers including the girls' mother, Whitney Decker, who addressed the public for the first time since her daughters were taken from their home for a scheduled visit with their father, only to be found murdered 3 days later. Organizer Mark Belton said the event was planned in order to help the community cope with the shared grief of losing the three children who were just ages 5 through 9.
Today's memorial is a time to grieve, to remember, and to honor three beautiful girls, each of whom brought you something uniquely special to the world. We hope this gathering offers a sense of solace to those who are hurting and a step toward healing and closure for the grieving community.
It's all Averill.
This community, all of you, have been a beacon in the darkest night. Through your acts of generosity and your prayers, your presence, and your love, our first responders, search and rescue, and tireless efforts of law enforcement, you have reminded us all, even in the shadow of something unthinkable, that the light still shines.
There are some people who step into your life and without even trying, change it forever. They don't do it through big, grand gestures or loud statements, but simply by being themselves. By showing up every day with kindness, joy, and with determination. Peyton was one of those people. She had a way of making others feel included, making sure no one was left behind, not because she had to, but because it was simply who she was.
One of the things that always stood out to me about Evelyn was the smile on her face. Sometimes that smile was hidden behind Brown Bear. He went everywhere with her. Brown Bear was her comfort, but once she'd get comfortable, he could sit to the side. And it would take her a few minutes, but then she would just shine bright, and she would have so much energy and so much spunk and kind of nudge the others along, whether it was her sisters or my girls, and say, come on, we're gonna go do it.
Olivia, she's the youngest of the three girls, but she quickly found her place in the family. And that's not always easy for the youngest. But Olivia had a way of carving her own space with ease. And I credit her mom, Whitney, for giving her a unique love and the attention that she needed, while Peyton and Evelyn were loving older sisters. I'll never forget this Easter when Olivia looked at Evelyn and said, I love that you play with me when you're busy or you don't want to.
I just have a short something to share. Good evening. I thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. You all look beautiful, and I know that Evie would have loved to ooh and ah over all of your outfits. She would have been amazed by all the color out there and just thought you guys look fantastic. You know that Peyton would have sought each and every one of you out to try to find something to give you a compliment for. She did that for everyone, whether it was in the grocery store or at school or with me, always telling me, oh, you look so beautiful, Mom, I love your earrings, or whatever it was that she could find. I wanted to share a means of connection the girls and I had that I think allowed them to have such warm and open hearts to the community around them. After my divorce, there were a lot of feelings flowing through my house. As you could imagine, me going through a divorce with three small, tiny women. Some of the feelings were easier to talk about than others. Through the girls' time with Children's Home Society and some incredible therapists, we discovered the three feelings. At night, during their bedtime routine, I would ask them what three feelings they felt during that day. No feeling too big or too small, and what was going on when they felt those feelings. For Peyton, she always had more than three, consistently eager to tell me about every minute of her day. She was always interrupting her sisters to make sure I knew every single one. For Ev, we would talk about her feelings one-on-one, right at bedtime, because she wasn't always ready to share them with her sisters. And for Olivia, we were still working on how to describe all of her feelings, but beyond a shadow of a doubt, one was always happy. Even when I tried to avoid telling my feelings, which is so easy to do as an adult, I feel like, the girls, one of them would always say, wait, Mom, you didn't tell me what yours were, and make sure that I too would tell them what my three feelings were. I'm so thankful for the time that I had with the girls. And how the three feelings allowed us to connect when the world slowed down. And it really gave me an inside look into their day. I believe doing this with them allowed them to come into the world with open hearts and kindness. I hope that you are all able to do some version of the three feelings with your loved ones. Thank you everyone for being here tonight and the outpouring of love that you have shown me and my family over the past few weeks. I truly hope that the legacy of the girls' lives lives in everyone's heart forever. They were incredible.
The city of Wenatchee is losing its strong right arm. Our media partner at the Wenatchee World reports that City Administrator Laura Gloria will resign from that position effective August 31st. Gloria has served under two mayors, first with Frank Kuntz, when he brought her on board in 2020 as the city's executive services director. The city council unanimously approved code changes that made her the city administrator with broadened areas of responsibility in October of 2023. Mayor Mike Poyer told the newspaper he'll be looking for a new administrator soon. He'll be taking feedback from his department heads and the community. He said Gloria herself will also be involved in the transition. Thursday marked a big symbolic step for the Douglas County PUD's hydrogen fueling system. East Wenatchee's Town Toyota dealership became the first official customer of the PUD's hydrogen fuel station. It's located at the utilities headquarters on Valley Mall Parkway. The new hydrogen-powered Toyota Mirai is one of the dealership's courtesy cars. The PUD installed its fuel station last year to serve hydrogen vehicles as part of its push towards manufacturing and distributing the alternative fuel. The utility says gassing up the Mirai at the East Wenatchee hydrogen pump cost Town Toyota just $20 for 3/4 of a tank. Washington's Department of Ecology has placed a 6-month pause on putting parts of the state's clean vehicle standards in place. Ecology Director Casey Sixkiller told vehicle manufacturers that the decision is a response to efforts by Congress and President Trump to overturn stricter vehicle emission standards adopted by Washington, California, and 17 other states. Washington's law requires automakers to increase their sales of zero-emission vehicles in the state, but that requirement will now be set aside until December. Sixkiller says the federal action introduces uncertainty for states, manufacturers, and consumers, and could set back the drive to reach net zero gas emissions by the year 2050. Well, it's wildfire season in north central Washington, and the Wenatchee Valley Fire Department has resources to help you get your home wildfire ready. Last week, we visited with Wenatchee Valley Fire Chief Brian Brett and Wildfire Community Liaison Hillary Hurd. They spoke to us about the expectations for this year's wildfire season and how people can remain aware of the risks. In fact, their department offers home assessments to anybody who wants one to learn how they can best prepare their homes against the danger.
The Wildfire Ready Neighbors is a program from Washington State Department of Natural Resources it's a social media campaign to heighten people's awareness of becoming prepared for a wildfire risk. And they do it in partnerships with local fire districts such as ourselves, and giving people tools for being better prepared for a wildfire. You can call in, request an assessment on your own property. Home assessments take about an hour. Myself or my team come out, and we're trained in home ignition zone safety. So we walk around the property with the homeowner. It takes about an hour. We look in different zones around the house. So the 0 to 5 foot zone, you want to make sure that you have good defensibility, not a lot of trees or shrubs up against your house. And then we back it out from 5 to 30 feet. And then if appropriate, then we'll go out from 30 to 100 feet. We have a fire adapted plant guide. Think about not planting arborvitae, that's very fire prone. So things of that nature. It can be the simple stuff, making sure you clean out your gutters so there's no debris in there, because embers from a fire can travel up to 5 miles, and they will find very small areas to collect. When we had the Red Apple fire, we noticed that some garage doors didn't have a good seal on them. So when homeowners came back from being evacuated, there was embers extinguished on their garage floor. So things like that, being aware of, and that the wildfires are mainly wind driven here, but it's not necessarily the flame front that you might see as you do in films and things like that. It's the ember cast from those fires that are going to be coming close to the home. So thinking about using rock in the 5 foot area instead of bark mulch, or using very minimal amounts of bark mulch, keeping areas well irrigated. So people don't have to live with a concrete bunker around their house with absolutely no vegetation. You can have very attractive vegetation and landscaping, and also improve the defensibleness of your home, and that can save your structure up to 80 to 90% if a fire does come, and that's a really easy task to do.
When we get dispatched to a wildfire, we know it's going to spread rapidly in this topography, in these fuels, and the winds we have, our rate of spread is enormous. So as soon as we get the call, we send everything we have immediately, and we make resource orders from our cooperators, the Forest Service, Department of Natural Resources, Bureau of Land Management, our neighboring departments. We get everything we can immediately. Our goal is to try and stop this thing in its tracks as fast as possible to minimize damage, protect lives, infrastructure, and personal property. And we just need the community's support in that when they do get the notifications for evacuations. We're not trying to inconvenience them. We literally plan this out in the various evacuation levels to minimize displacement, but we do need the room to work safely and effectively for us.
We live in an area that's prone to wildfires, so it's just one more thing to need to be prepared about, as in if people lived in other areas where there were hurricanes or tornadoes or floods. So it's just something to take into consideration to protect yourselves and your homes. We live in an incredible area in north central Washington, and we want to do our best to help you become more fire adapted so you can be ready for when a wildfire event occurs.
And that is the news on this Monday. We're back at full strength. Grant is back from his 2-day vacation. Everybody will be gathered in the newsroom to, well, do the news, and then it comes your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock on TV, 5, 6, and 10 if that doesn't work in your schedule, or you have a smart TV, or you just use the internet for all of your television consumption. Our news will be posted on our homepage, NCWLIFE.com, or right around 5 o'clock. And if you've got a news tip, you can send it to us, news@ncwlife.com. Good weekend for the Mariners, not so much for the Apple Sox. Sports is next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Central Washington Water understands the power of healing waters. If part of your wellness routine includes hot heat from a sauna, Central Washington Water now carries indoor and outdoor infrared and hot rock saunas by Tilo. Research shows there are many health benefits to a cold plunge after a good workout or relaxing time in your sauna. Harness the power of water in a hot spring spa, plug-and-play spas, a Tilo sauna, or a cold plunge tub. Stop by Central Washington Water, your wellness experts.
Cashmere's Founders Day is wrapped up in one big fun-filled day, Saturday, June 28th from 10 to 6. Founders Day began in 1979, celebrating all that Cashmere has to offer. The Classic Car Show is always a favorite in the heart of downtown, as well as the ping pong ball drop in the park. And of course, the day concludes with the Grand Parade at 5 p.m. Please support these businesses during your visit to Cashmere. Get coverage you can trust from Bruce Cheadle, your State Farm agent.
Craving fresh Asian comfort food? Steam Panda is Wenatchee's popular, family-friendly Asian restaurant. They focus on providing guests with delicious, healthy, fresh, and natural dishes for an affordable price. It's time to enjoy one of their many popular house-made soup dumplings, ramen noodles, or pho dishes. And make sure to ask about their lunch and chef specials on sushi rolls. Steam Panda's Hawaiian poke bowl and salads are excellent with your favorite boba tea. Stop by or order online at Steam Panda today.
Caught in a conflict? Family, workplace, neighbor, business, housing disputes? Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center provides mediation services, a cost-effective and efficient way to provide a written resolution to disputes and issues. Plus, we offer mediation training and community education on conflict resolution and communication skills. Contact us to learn more.
Sports at 24 minutes after the hour. The Mariners rode 5 homers in a 14-6 win over the Cubs yesterday. Donovan Solano homered twice, drove in 5 runs. Cal Raleigh did it again, 31st homer of the year. And Dominic Canzone went deep twice. The Mariners win the rubber game of the weekend series. There was a total of 21 homers for the two teams combined.
1-on-1 here's Cal Raleigh. 3 home runs his first 2 games of this series. He goes after the first pitch. A high riser, center field. Cal Raleigh bombs away again. Straight away center field. It's his 4th home run in 3 games on the north side. He just continues to charge through the record books. Number 31 this year for Cal Raleigh.
Munoz was warming up, and he's been here, 3 times, but he has never actually been able to pitch in a game.
Canzone deep the opposite way. Dom Canzone let it fly. The Mariners' second home run in as many innings. It's a 3-1 Mariners lead. Here's Donovan Solano. Now this is a rocket out to left field and gone. Donovan Solano joins the party. Mariners' third homer today. It's a 4-1 Mariners lead. All right, here he comes.
Going out into left field to get the baseball after it was thrown back. That's Donovan Solano's second home run of the season.
Fires to Crawford. Ooh. Got it. To first. Doubled him up. Look what I found. Colin Ray. Right place, right time. Double play. Ends the inning. Bam. Look what I found. Perfect. Go to the bottom of the fourth.
So 2 outs and Cal Raleigh at second. Here is Arozarena. Brujan can't get to this one. Here comes Cal Raleigh rounding third base, and on his way home, it's bobbled out there by Suzuki. Arozarena tiptoes into second base. He drives in a run for the Mariners, and they play a little add-on here in the 5th. 5-1 M. Canzone deep out to right field. If it's fair, and it's going to be plenty fair, it leaves a dent in the scoreboard. Dom Canzone practically knocked it over. And the Mariners now have a 2-run lead. That ball was blasted by Canzone. Here is Solano. On its way out to left field. Solano has tagged his second today. Donovan Solano is feeling good recently. It's a 9-4 Mariners lead in the 7th inning. Who is this guy?
And where has he been?
On a 2-2. Hit hard, fair into left field. Julio waltzes home. Cal Raleigh makes the turn. And the Mariners just keep on adding on here in the 8th inning. This time, it's Randy Arozarena. Up the middle, hit firm, base hit center field. Young scores. Arozarena runs through a stop sign and gets in there easily. Donovan Solano brings home 2 more, and the Mariners have matched their season high 14 runs today against the Cubs. The 1-2 popped up. Mastroboni, the former Cub, puts the squeeze on a Mariners.
Brian Wu starts tonight for the Mariners in the opener of a 4-game series in Minnesota. Bailey Ober gets the nod for the Twins. 4:40 first pitch on Root Sports. To the scoreboard we go. The Mariners still 5 games behind the Astros, who beat the Angels. The Angels are 7.5 games back. Rangers 7 games back. The Pirates beat them, and the Guardians knocked off the Athletics. Apple Sox have been scoring a lot of runs, and then they went to Canada, and they didn't. They only scored 7 runs all weekend. They got swept by Edmonton. They will be in Bellingham for a 3-game series starting tomorrow. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. It's 28 minutes after the hour. It is summertime. It is National Hydration Day. Today, the body, I think it's like 85% of your body is water, something along those lines. You don't get enough water, you got all kinds of issues, and you need to drink water depending really on your activity level. By the way, the human brain is 95% water, and there are many days when I can tell that my brain is 95% water. You get about 80% of your water needs by drinking beverages. The other 20% you get from eating fruits and vegetables, things like that. So it doesn't necessarily always have to be something drinking, so long as you eat healthy. It's National Hydration Day. It is today in history. In November of 1610, everything was going good. Henry Hudson and the crew, they discovered Hudson's Bay. They were looking for the Northwest Passage. They didn't know it didn't exist. And then they got iced in, so they moved ashore for the winter. And then on June 23rd, 1611, Henry Hudson said, okay, guys, let's go. Let's keep sailing around. But the crew had had about enough. They said, no, we want to go home. and so they mutinied. And the crew of Henry Hudson's fourth voyage sends Henry, his son, and 7 loyal crew members adrift in an open boat in what is now Hudson Bay. They were never heard from again. Maybe they should have just gone home. That was on this date in 1611. And baseball, well, here you go. Dave Causa, on this date in 1981, 44 years ago today, Dave Causa drives in Marty Barrett with a bases-loaded base hit in the bottom of the 33rd inning. Pawtucket 3, Rochester 2. The longest game in baseball history comes to an end. It had started on April 19th. It lasted 32 innings. They picked it up on June 23rd. The game's 14 pitchers went through 160 baseballs, 882 pitches, 195 putouts, 219 at-bats. It took 8 hours and 25 minutes. A friendly reminder, there is no clock in baseball, and you have to give the other team a chance to score. Birthdays, 2 heavenly birthdays. She survived pneumonia, scarlet fever, and polio as a child. She was the 20th of 22 siblings from her father's 2 marriages, and Wilma Rudolph became the fastest woman in the world. She won 3 gold medals at the 1960 Rome Olympics. The legendary Wilma Rudolph, born in the state in 1940. And Stu Sutcliffe, who was the most promising student at the Liverpool Art College, became a good buddy of John Lennon's. And in 1959, he sold a painting for a lot of money. And John Lennon said, "I know what to do with your money, Stu. Buy a bass guitar and join the Beatles." Well, he didn't know how to play a bass guitar. John said it didn't matter. He was the bassist of the Beatles until he died of a brain tumor at the age of 21. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. They are platinum sponsors. When Mike Minotti's wife is watching a Mariner game, don't bug her, just leave her alone. And then Bonnie Orr will be joining me to talk about all the do's and don'ts, I just made up a word, of summertime gardening and yard care. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
Welcome to Boswell's, where you'll find quality furnishings for every room in your home. Customers ask, do you have solid wood options? Yes, they do. Bamboo, maple, acacia, cherry, mahogany. With 2 floors of quality furniture and complimentary design services, Boswell's design team can create a home that's uniquely yours. For almost a century, people have chosen Boswell's for their quality and customer service. Boswell's Furniture, it's closer than you think.
Hey there folks, Blueberry Carrie here to invite you on out to experience Blueberry Hills. Of course, the food is fabulous, like our cheese blintz, our famous French dip, our legendary Eggs Benedict, and unforgettable burgers. But we're more than just great food. People come from all over the world to experience what's been called one of the best destination restaurants in the Pacific Northwest. So come on out and see what all the fuss is about. Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's where the world is coming to.
Welcome to the Gilded Lily home, where something extraordinary is waiting for you. The Gilded Lily offers a unique collection of hand-selected, carefully curated items to help you celebrate all of life's special moments. From the budding chef to the home decorator to that very special occasion, there is an abundance of delightful gifts waiting for you. The Gilded Lily home, where you can step in for inspiration and leave with beautiful items to brighten any area of your home.
Welcome to Mountain Chick Floral, your go-to flower and plant shop in downtown Wenatchee. Explore their wide variety of unusual and fun plants. And when you buy a plant in a container, they'll pot it up for you absolutely free. Birthday or weddings, they'll create the perfect floral arrangement for you. Brighten up your office with fresh blooms delivered to your door or business. Ask about floral subscriptions. Visit Mountain Chick Floral today, where every occasion is a reason to celebrate with flowers.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNutty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I love my wife, Rosie. Yes, I do. But her obsession with the Mariners is driving me crazy. I mean, I'm trying to read a book. I'm doing work on the computer, or heaven help me, I'm trying to go to sleep. But she feels the need to update me on every pitch, every strike, every foul ball, every doggone thing that's happening that, frankly, I couldn't care less about. You know, no, my friends, my buddies, they understand that when God was handing out the sports gene, I stepped out for a beer. Rosie, so somehow equates a shared love of the Mariners as some sort of barometer for our relationship. Now she can disagree with me about Janis Joplin, appropriate toppings on pizza, or my obsession with cop shows, and none of this is any indication that she doesn't love me. But me telling her that I could care less if Julio got a hit or struck out, man, we don't even want to go there. Oh God, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
Celebrate this great country of ours during Rockfest in Rock Island the last Saturday in June. Great music, great bands, great fun. It all happens at the Rock Island Golf Course. Mark your calendars and be prepared for fun, family fun, and live music till the fireworks start crackling. Sponsored by Real Homes alongside Douglas County and Marson & Marson. Pack your chair, pack your picnic basket, or enjoy food from the food trucks. Rockfest in Rock Island the last Saturday in June.
Welcome to the summer of good. Good people, good taste, good vibes, and good, well, everything. When you're ready for some old-fashioned good, Abby's is your place. We've been celebrating summers around the PNW for over 60 years. At Abby's, good is a legendary tradition. Here's a good-looking pizza, guaranteed to bring some summer smiles. And right now, it's on sale, so it's good for your wallet too. This giant is loaded with toppings and can feed up to 6 people. Order at abbys.com. Give us a call or just drop by. It's the summer of good, only at Abby's Legendary Pizza.
Now there are even more reasons to meet at the Pybus Market. Outdoor dining and tastings, the fabulous Farmers Market, Saturday artisans on the concourse, and your favorites all week long. No matter the reason, it's always time to meet at the Pybus Market. Pybus Market, where community meets.
It's summertime, the living is easy, the fish are jumping, the cotton is high. Daddy's rich, Mom is good looking. I can't go any further than that, Bonnie. And then we have to pay.
I can't either. And then we have to pay royalties.
We have to pay royalties to George and Ira Gershwin. Wonderful people, but we don't want to do that. Bonnie Orr's with me. We're at the lovely Omi Gardens, which, by the way, had a really good spring. This place is just bursting with activity and love, isn't
And
it?
there are 10 to 12 friends of Omi Gardens who come and are doing most of the wonderful maintenance, the weeding and everything. And we also, the gardens had to deal with the 15 trees that blew down.
Yeah, we had that big windstorm
in
February, March, knocked down a lot of the big trees. They had to bring in a helicopter, for crying out loud to get rid of some of them because they ended up on 70-degree slopes.
Yeah.
But it's nothing. Omi Gardens.
It looks good.
Yeah.
And people should come. You know, if you live in Wenatchee, you need to come because most of the people come from out of town. This is our treasure.
Well, this happened to us a couple of years ago. We came to shoot at Omi Gardens. We were packing up the gear. Lovely couple came in, and I'm not shy. I started talking to them. Said they go, "This is our first time at Omi Gardens." I said, "Oh, you really? Where are you from?" So Wenatchee. I said, "How long you lived here?" So about 25 years.
See? So, I mean, it is a wonderful place to come.
It is.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
We always start out this is, of course, our summer solstice interview. We do solstices and equinoxes 4 times a year. And we always begin our conversation with the spring that was 2025. I'm going to throw some stats out your way, Bonnie. First of all, the drought. This is not good. We had the 17th driest May on record, and the records go back 131 years, and this one is even more disturbing, Bonnie. So far, starting on January 1st up until taping day today, again, going back to 1894, this is the 11th driest year in 131 years. We are 5.62 inches behind our annual rainfall.
We didn't have snow, we didn't have rain. It's a drought.
It's a drought, and that's a concerning drought.
It's a concerning drought for trees as well as for gardening.
Because trees don't water themselves. I mean,
Indeed.
Yeah, we were here at Omi Gardens. There's thousands of trees here. There's not 1,000 sprinklers for each tree.
No.
Doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So a little concerning there. But even more concerning, perhaps, is the wind. And it took me a little while to find these stats, but I found them. For the month of June, we've averaged Each day of June, 11 miles per hour of wind per day. In May, it was 11, I rounded up or down, closest to it, 11 miles per hour per day in May. April, 9 miles per hour per day of wind.
And then we had gust, right? But you know what's really interesting, 3 years ago, we had wind every single day between April 3rd and August 3rd.
But it's not the jet stream. Usually when the jet stream moves, usually it's over central British Columbia, and we get windy days when the jet stream is over the top of us. That hasn't really been the case. It's been where it is supposed to be, and yet we still have wind.
It is Mother Nature doing Mother Nature's thing. The wind does impact gardening tremendously.
Such as, give us some examples.
People watering who have their water system set for automatic, and it comes on at a certain time. Well, the wind is howling. How much water are you getting down on your lawn flower beds? I think having it set automatically is not this year's choice. Okay?
It's really not a good choice anyway.
I know, but particularly now.
And it should be pointed out that a lot of people who are smart water in the very earliest morning of the hours, right after sunrise, where it still can evaporate a little bit, or right before sunset. But we've had very windy evenings.
And windy mornings. Da-da, here we are. But I have found that I do, the early and late watering. I have been watering in the middle of the day just because I want water on the ground.
And of course, we're just talking about watering with sprinklers. What about with your plants? You're going out there and applying stuff to your plants. That's not doing any good either.
You're talking about herbicide?
Yeah, stuff like that, yeah.
The thing is that herbicide, when it's over 85 degrees, it volatilizes. It turns to a gas, and then we have just a little poof, and it goes to your neighbor's yard.
And your neighbor might not want any herbicide.
Well, it's not just that, it will kill their plants.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing.
Using it responsibly is important. And also, there is a great deal of concern about herbicide resistance. So we use a product like, for instance, Roundup or something, and we spray the weeds. That doesn't kill all the weeds. Mm-hmm. They set seed, and then those seeds blow to places where agriculture is going on, and they now have weed resistant.
So it's the same thing like when we talk about antibiotics for the human body. You can build up a tolerance, and it doesn't do any good. Plants can do the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just using it responsibly.
Well, that's always a good idea. It will eventually get hot. It's been a warm spring, but it's been a dry spring. We're going to see some heat, so we need to be prepared for that.
Right, we do. But I want to say one more thing about the wind, and that is that because we have these gusts, it is tearing leaves, and people think it's insect damage on their plants, but it really is wind damage. Okay, so and also it dries the edges of the leaves. The heat.
Plants may be hardy, but they still need love.
They do.
Yeah.
And so the heat, mulch, famous word,
sure.
mulch, because it prevents the ground from evaporating, the water in the ground from evaporating, and it also helps the roots be protected from the heat. 3 or 4 inches. Yeah. I use grass clippings mixed with leaves.
Is it too late to thatch? Or is thatching good 80 time, really?
No.
Yeah.
It's too late to fertilize your lawn.
Yeah.
Okay, the heat is coming down the pike, okay? It's too late to fertilize your garden, your vegetable garden. It's too late to do any of those things because what happens is you apply fertilizer and the plant goes, oh, and gives a growth spurt which cannot be supported because of the water.
Exactly.
Lack of water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like cocaine, and then it's like, now what?
I have no idea.
not that I would.
No, this is what causes blossom end rot.
Yeah.
On tomatoes.
So it's too late for fertilization, but what about actually planting vegetables for a fall harvest?
Okay, so pretty soon the stores are going to be taking the seeds out. They'll no longer have seeds available. So you need to buy seeds now for your fall peas, spinach, carrots, beets. You plant the beets and carrots in August, and then you mulch them and you harvest them all winter long. Ta-da!
And so we talked about this before. Packets of seeds, they have a pretty long shelf life, do they not? I mean, you can store them for a few years if you store them correctly, right?
Absolutely. And up here, somebody wanted some California poppy, and the only package I had was from 2006. I couldn't believe it. I planted them. Ta-da! So who knows?
But you need to store them correctly.
That's right.
That's
and
the
some
key there.
plants are more their seed viability is longer than other times.
Okay.
Okay.
This is a wild rose plant that's behind us, by the way.
Yes.
It's having some issues, but let's talk about domestic rose plants for just a minute. What do we need to know now this time of the year?
Don't fertilize.
Okay.
Don't fertilize. You can deadhead, because then in August you'll have another bloom,
Okay.
and that's it.
And roses, as we've talked about many times, are maybe the hardiest of all plants.
Yes.
You really got to work to kill a rose bush.
That's right. We had that one winter, you know, where they all went to the ground, but most of them came back.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Fungicides then? For roses, fungicides maybe?
Not necessary.
Okay.
Okay, so if mildew there's many plants that get mildew, and the most ecologically sound way to deal with mildew is to spray water on the tops and bottoms of the leaves at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it washes off the spores for the next day's mildew. Okay, rather than using fungicide, which can damage pollinators, birds, blah blah blah, you know, that type of thing. But just spraying it is. And also, you can buy a variety of plant that doesn't get, it is not affected by fungus.
How can you we talked about how rose bushes are so hardy, you can not maintain them for even a couple of years and it's recoverable.
Right.
But how do you know when a rose bush isn't doing well? Because it's so good at hiding its symptoms.
It is?
I've always thought so.
Well,
how do you know that if a rose bush isn't doing so well?
Oh, okay, so.
What are some of the telltale signs?
Okay, the first sign, if you have a grafted plant, is that it has these long, skinny things coming up, and it means it's gone back to its rootstock.
Okay.
Okay, and it blooms red once. That's called the Dr. Huey rootstock. Okay, you take that whole thing out because your prize rose is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, roses don't show any signs. You know. I mean, I very seldom have seen truly sick roses. We don't have the diseases, black spot, Japanese beetles in Yakima, black spots on the other side of the mountains. We don't have rose diseases here.
Knock on wood.
Perhaps, yeah.
Seen a lot of root rot problems, especially among larger trees in areas that are just getting terribly overwatered.
With clay soil.
With clay soil, and it's become a problem now.
Yeah.
Because we get cheap water from the irrigation. It doesn't cost you much at all if you're on any of the irrigation systems or the canal systems that snake all over the area. And so you have a tendency to overwater anyway because it's so cheap, and you're doing a lot of damage to some big, hardy, healthy trees that just don't need that much. They're getting root rot, they're falling over.
And the other side of that is, because we haven't had precipitation, we don't have, our soil is so dry, the trees in your yard, you should dig down and see what your water profile is. The soil should be moist, not wet, moist, you know, darker colored, down to about 12 inches, because almost all the roots are in the top 1 foot of the ground.
And when you're watering trees with your sprinkler system, you're just watering the bottom of the tree. When it rains, the precipitation gets all over the tree, especially broadleaf trees, you know, which is, I think, pretty cool.
Yeah, it drips down. Yeah. But when you are watering, okay, so tree roots come up to the top 12 inches. Grass roots, okay, go down about 6 to 8 inches. So there's a competition for water. Grass, lawn is not compatible with
Who's going to win that competition?
The trees are going to win.
The trees are going to win it. Yeah. They're going to suck it all
not
up.
only that, but then they make shade so that nothing else can grow.
Exactly. Lawn care. Let's talk about that. No,
okay.
We just talked about that a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, you know, so it's time to mow your lawn and sit back and enjoy yourself. Use your lawn clippings for mulch in your flower beds and in your vegetable garden, so you don't have to weed. I never weed. Yeah.
A few days ago, I found some slugs in the real shady spot that never gets any sun. I made the mistake. I named them, and now I'm emotionally attached to them, and now I can't get rid of them. So sorry, Mary Ann and Ginger. But slugs are out there.
I found my first snail.
Snail?
Snail. So these are brought in from other places, okay? Many of the plants that are sold in garden centers,
they're hitchhiking?
They're grown in like Skagit Valley, and they're in the bottom of pots. And whenever you have a plant that you buy, you need to dump the whole thing out and wash the roots, okay? Literally.
So escargot for dinner tonight?
Yes, you could.
Oh, last call to prune spring flowering shrubs.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, rhodies, lilacs, forsythia, and viburnum, those are going to set their next year blooms in July. So you need to get those done. Rhodies might be a little late. Generally within 10 days of the blooms falling off, you can cut anywhere you want, and the latent buds for new leaves will spring out. If you're a little late, you just have little sticks for the rest of the year.
We don't want that.
Yeah, we wouldn't want that.
We don't want that. Before I forget, how are the tomatoes? Every year we talk tomatoes.
I know.
And it's been so long since we've had a good tomato year. Are we 2025 going to be like the last few years, just not a good year for tomatoes?
Well, yeah, you know, tomatoes came on in September, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, there are people who believe that gardening is a competitive sport. And I've already heard people go, I have a little green tomato. I'm going, well, fine, you know. But the deal is that tomatoes are pouting. And because what happens is that when it's over 85 degrees, the pollen and the flowers of the tomato dry up before they can fertilize the fruit. If it gets below 60, the plant shuts down. Well, we had this last week, nights in the 50s, and
highs pushing 90, and it just stops. It just shuts down.
That's right. It just goes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have tomatoes, but they'll be later. Okay. You don't have to have the first tomato on the block.
By the way, if gardening ever does become a competitive sport, my money's on you, Bonnie. I just want to let you know. We talked about slugs. Any other bugs or pests out there that are detrimental to your lawn or garden or plants that you need to keep an eye out for?
Yes, squash bugs. Okay, and stink bugs. These are ones that attack squash and tomatoes. And you have to go out and you have to look every day. You go out to the garden, turn the leaves over, and in the veins of the leaves is where the seeds are. It's not the seeds, the eggs. And you just either cut that leaf off or smush them, put rub gloves on if you're fussy, squish them. And there's a thing called growing degree days. And we're all familiar with it in Wenatchee, because remember in the paper it used to have how many blossom degrees it was?
Yes.
And the apple trees bloomed at 1,000 degrees, okay? Well, this is true for every single plant and every single insect. And the really cool thing is that the research that's being done is that we know that when a plant blooms, it's the same number of degrees that this insect will hatch. So I planted chicory, which is a little blue flower. Some people think it's a weed. I think it's beautiful. And when the chicory blooms, the squash bugs have hatched.
Okay.
And so mine is in bloom, so I'm keeping an eye out.
So we talked about the WSU Master Gardeners and the pros there. You can take pictures if you have a lawn problem or a plant problem and send it off to them with a little description, and they'll diagnose it and take care of it. What about bug? Can you take a picture and say, I found this bug in my yard,
Yes.
do I need to kill it?
Yes. No.
You can do that. I mean,
yes,
you can
people do
take
that.
a picture and send it to you guys.
Yes, right. Or you can bring them to the Wenatchee Library, the downtown library, and bring them in on Mondays from 1 to 4.
Because there are beneficial bugs that you don't want to kill.
95%. 95%. Yeah.
Don't give bugs a bad name. All
Yeah.
right, let's make that. Weeds, my favorite thing to do. Pulling weeds. I love it. Can't get enough of it.
Come up and join the friends at Ome Gardens. Anybody is welcome to come up and join us on Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock, because we can always use another set of hands.
Bonnie, when we got here, Bonnie was pulling weeds. It's like instinctual. You know, you're like drawn to it.
Well, if every little bit helps. Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit more about what the Master Gardeners have in store. Just a quick heads up, the Community Education Garden, Western and Springwater, it's a microcosm of every possible thing you can think of for plants and vegetables in the entire North Central Washington area in a little 3-4 acre setup. It's incredible.
Yeah, good practice. It's all examples of good practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How it's done.
Yeah, and we have people working on Fridays. You can ask people, and we have presentations the third Saturday of the month.
I've noticed that all of your cohorts at the Master Gardener Society, via the columns in the Wenatchee World or elsewhere, they're such a font of information, and they're more than happy to to use their expertise, because they're all in it together on this. Everybody wants to see a beautiful lawn and a beautiful garden and beautiful plants.
And we're doing research all the time.
Yeah.
You know, we try to stay on top of things.
It never changes. And coming up on the 19th, July 19th, at the Community Education Garden, you kids are getting together, busting garden myths and solving lawn dilemmas. Which one's the opening act?
The myths.
Busting garden myths will open, and then solving lawn dilemmas will close.
Right.
Good. And because solving lawn dilemmas are great. I love them. The keyboard has quit, but they're still going strong.
It's free.
That's a good price.
They start at 10. Yeah.
Personal question, how's your garden going?
My garden is going okay. I've finally gotten everything mulched, because I weed in the spring and I weed again in the fall. That's the only weeding I do, because I keep the 3 inches of mulch down, primarily lawn clippings and leaves, and my plants are also growing very close together, so there's no chance for a weed to come.
If you're just wandering around the neighborhood or standing in your yard and you see a lovely young woman pulling weeds, the odds are it's just Bonnie. Probably just pulled over and saw some weeds and said, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And number one advice from Bonnie Orr, learned this a long time ago: if you're going to plant fruits and vegetables, specifically vegetables, in a garden to harvest, plant stuff you're going to eat.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And also this year I've run out of room in my vegetable garden, so the borders for my flower beds are beets and peppers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
Always good to see you.
It's good
Great
to see you.
information. Say hi to Marco for me and the rest of the crew at the Master Gardeners.
Yeah, there's fabulous people in the Master Gardeners
Great people.
program. Yeah.
And circle July 19th on your program and come on up to the Community Education Garden in Wenatchee and learn some stuff. You always can. Bonnie, happy summertime.
Happy summer.
The living is easy. The fish are jumping.
It is.
And I can't do that song anymore.
I can't believe we have 18 hours of light.
I know.
And then, isn't that right? We have 16 hours. We have 16 hours of light.
For the record,
okay,
the summer solstice, Friday the 20th at 7:42 p.m. is the exact moment of the solstice. For the record, 15 hours, 57 minutes, and 32 seconds of daylight. 15 hours, 57 minutes, 32 seconds of daylight. The first full day of summer, Saturday the 21st, will be 1 second shorter than Friday.
And then it's shorter and shorter. And then we have 16 hours of dark and 8 hours of light.
Don't be a stranger. I don't want to wait till the middle of September to talk to you again, all right? Fair enough?
Sure
You know where to find me. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
You trust the same doctor for your health and the same dentist for your smile. Trust Global Car Care to keep your vehicle running strong. We track your car's history so it gets the right care at the right time. With our 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on parts and labor, you'll drive away with confidence. Global Car Care, your automotive experts. We service all makes and models, but specialize in Sprinter vans, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, and BMW. Call or visit us today.
The Surf and Slide Water Park is open from Memorial Day through Labor Day. Surf and Slide is located in the heart of Central Washington in Moses Lake with activities for all ages and abilities. Check out Surf and Slide's Flow Rider Surfing Simulator, Lazy River, 2 200-foot water slides, tube slides, and diving boards. Our children's area includes a Treasure Island water structure, splash pad, and baby octopus slide. For season passes, visit us online or find Surf and Slide on Facebook.
Oh, happy day, Wenatchee Valley. Collins Fashions is looking forward to our famous summer weather. We are fully stocked with shorts, capris, skirts, tees, and tanks. Summer dresses have all arrived in many styles and colors. Special occasion dresses are on full display, and we have something for everyone. Collins is your Brighton headquarters with jewelry, handbags, charms, and sunglasses. We invite you to visit Collins, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
Still a little hazy from the fire up the Aniat Way, about 35 miles up the Aniat drainage, which is why we have a little hazy skies. But the skies are actually, the air quality is getting better. It was 70 about 3 hours ago. It's now down to 60 in the Wenatchee Valley, but it's getting a little worse to the north of us, closer to the fire. Twisp is getting pretty dirty air. Winthrop, Tonasket, Aniat's at 57. All of that is in the moderate range, but it will improve as the day progresses and it warms up. From the National Weather Service, Here's what we're looking at. Considerably warmer today than we saw over the weekend. Will be about 82 degrees. And then a couple of mid-level disturbances are going to start popping in and out tonight through Wednesday. We'll see a few clouds on Tuesday, more than we're going to have today anyway, with a high of about 87. Then on Wednesday, lots of sunshine, about 82. We bottom out as far as high temperatures for the week is concerned on Thursday and Friday, right around 80 degrees, but lots of sunshine. And then we warm back up on Saturday. We'll be into the 90s by Sunday. And the National Weather Service says by Monday and Tuesday of next week, we could be getting close to triple digits. Well, it will be July by then anyway. That's it for us. Have a good and safe Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.